Guys, let's start off with a trade. So it's a 12-team super flex start 10. Are you taking Javonte Williams or the 108?
Pick.
Pick.
Yeah. Why are you taking the pick? Let's talk about Javonte Williams. We get a lot of questions saying, "Hey, what's his value these days? He's coming off the injury." What are your thoughts on him right now?
Well, one thing is he was never worth what he was going for anyway before last year. Everybody got all hot and bothered because he put up a RB 24 season. And everybody was like, "Oh no, he's the next big thing." So he was never worth what people thought he was anyway. And I mean, unless I missed something, he didn't do anything to increase his value or his worth in my eyes. That said, I'd pay like the 110 for him, but just not the 108. That's out of range for me.
Yeah, I mean, part of it is not necessarily Javonte, but it's just the value of the picks. There's probably a flat tier of picks, but I'd still prefer a pick over a player, especially one that has the risks that he has. The injury, change in offense. Like, there's a lot of things where you're just like, you're not 100% sure. And I'm looking at 108. Like, if I know Zach Charbonnet is going in the first 2 rounds, am I really taking Javonte Williams over him? Essentially, he's like a Javonte Williams, but rebooted, right? Like, you don't have 2 years ago without the injury. So it just feels like whether it's Zach Charbonnet or another player, forget about the quarterbacks, forget about the wide receivers. I think we can all project probably 4 first-round quarterbacks, probably at least 3 to 4, maybe 5 first-round receivers, and RB2, RB3, RB4 in this range. Just feels like you'd rather have the pick. And that's not a Javonte slight. That's probably a 80% of the players you would ask. I'd take the pick simply for that reason. Now, to be fair, and I got back and forth on Twitter about this today, if you just hold that pick for 4 months and you just end up picking whoever you take at the 108 or the 110 or the 112, then sure, you could compare that player to some of the players you may ask to trade for, and you go, I'd rather take the player I could have gotten in the trade. But that's not the point of trading for picks now. It's you hold them for the next 3 or 4 months to see what might come up. That's the value, is what could come up versus what do I have in front of me. So, yeah, with that, I just take the pick.
I got to be honest with you. I'm slighting Javonte Williams a little bit. I just want that put out there. This is a little bit of a slight on him because there's many running backs. Yes, I said many, at least 5 off the top of my head that I can think of that I would trade the 108 for. And that's saying a lot because I don't like running backs as people, as a position, as a group of people. And I don't like trading things for them. But I would definitely give up the 108 for multiple running backs.
So let's do the conversion. So in 1 QB, so in Superflex 12 team, we just said 108 and we took the pick. In 1 QB, how should we do the math? So how many quarterbacks would you plan on going before the 108 in a Superflex? Should we just estimate 3 or are you going to say 4?
I think it's league dependent. I think a lot of leagues are going to be a little more skeptical on Levis and Richardson, especially Levis. But some leagues, you're just going to go, I got to take the quarterback that's in the first round. I don't care if I don't like him. So, yeah, call it 3.5 if we want to use like a real over and under 3.5.
So 1 QB, would you rather have the 105 or Javonte Williams?
I mean, Clay, you got to make it challenging, man. That's just subtracting 3 and asking the same question.
I'm trying to help out our subscribers.
Well, I mean, it could be
who play in 1 QB leagues, and we talk a lot of Superflex. Just what the conversion is in their head. They're just taking out the quarterbacks. So is that a decent conversion? 105 versus the 108.
Yeah. It's probably more like the 108 is the 1 QB price.
Oh, so that would make him like the 209 in Superflex if my math is correct, which it isn't.
That would be the 212, Shane. Your math is, for some reason, your math just created like 7 quarterbacks out of a genie.
Off the top of my head, that's incorrect.
Yeah, just assume if it's math and I said it's wrong. I'll take the 105 over Javonte, but in a 1 quarterback league, it is getting a little closer, a lot closer. Especially, look, we still have a ton of time, so we want the pick, right? A ton can still go right with that pick. I know people are getting a little antsy on the class, but we haven't entered the good news period of the draft season, which is coming up.
Exactly. Okay, let's go to this one right here. I thought this was an interesting question. So, hogging top QBs versus selling your excess of two. Shane and Scott have shared differing opinions on this. What scenarios would Scott sell his top 8 QB and or Shane hold on to his top 3? Third top 8 QB, excuse me.
Triple flex. I'll definitely hold on to that third one. I'll put that out there. I'll trade it if wait, I have to hold on to it.
So historically you said, you're a little bit looser trading that extra elite QB if you can get some stuff. And Scott's like, no, I'm hoarding it.
Are my two of those quarterbacks Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence? Because then I'm more apt to go, if it's the bottom 8, if it's a sketchy 8, like I believe a sketch 8, like Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields, I'm like fairly confident that they could be, top elite quarterbacks. Except I also know that Justin Fields has thrown for 200 yards in the NFL like 2 more times than me, which is none. I've never done it. I'm trying though. I'm getting closer. So there, I think that's one of the few situations I would do it. Or if one of the top QBs I have is Kyler, because then I'm like, well, he's injured. He's out. I'm not going to do it. Or 3 years ago when Deshaun Watson started his shenanigans. But that's literally it.
Well, to correct Shane, the question was top 8 QBs. So mentioning the name Kyler Murray, that's out. Probably mentioning the name potentially Justin Fields is out. But he said top 8. For me, it's a top 9, and then it's a clear tier break. When would I sell one of them? I equate it to this. You ever seen a Hollywood movie where they have a briefcase and you can fit a certain amount of big bills in that briefcase?
Yeah, for sure.
But then what if it reaches capacity and someone sends you another stack of big bills? Do you just turn it down and go, no, I don't have room for it, so I don't want it? That's essentially what this question is if I can have 3 quarterbacks, sure, I will give it up. I will sell it, but it's still, I'm not going to discount at all because I have 3 and I can't start all 3. And that's sometimes where I think Shane and I's debate goes back and forth. Now, I think where the debate has come in the past is I go, well, I'm going to buy the third QB because it's a good value. And he's going, I'm not going to spend my money on a third QB. I'd rather just go spend my money on a receiver or, 2 receivers or a tight end or something like that. But I think it's still, if you have all 3 QBs, let's say you have a team that has Lawrence, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert. It's just an embarrassment of riches, right? You can sell any of the 3 at any point. Someone in your league will give you an offer. You probably want to still structure your offer around getting a third QB back, not going down 3 tiers in that third QB. So it's not going down from, let's say you try to sell Justin Herbert's the one you choose to sell. I'm not going from Justin Herbert to Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't care who you're giving me. You can't give me enough to go down that far. Even if you give me Jamar Chase and Jimmy Garoppolo for Justin Herbert, I'm not bailing you out and giving you Justin Herbert. Now you want to give me Jamar Chase and a first and Jimmy Garoppolo? Okay, then it's at least hitting the structure that I want. Ideally, how I would sell my third QB is I go down 1 tier. Can I go down from, I don't know, Justin Herbert to Dak Prescott and get Jalen Waddle in a first on top?
Scott, you are extrapolating the question.
No, I'm not.
You have to trade him. You have to trade him.
That's what he's saying. I got you, Shane. In what scenario would you do it?
You don't. I hold them all for
Scott's
3 years.
So never. See, here I am. I'm willing to bend. I named at least 15 different circumstances where I'd go, you know what? You're right. I'd hold. Scott, this is why we could never be married. Scott refuses to bend in any way whatsoever and is just like, no, we're not doing it. I will sell that third quarterback all the time. That's the right answer. Always sell that third quarterback.
So what's the structure, though? Let's say you have 3 QBs. You're not getting a good offer. But now it is 2 weeks before the season, and you're starting to feel the squeeze, Shane. You're going and setting that lineup on your app, and you're going, man, I cannot start Trevor Lawrence in this lineup. He doesn't crack my starting lineup. I'm worried now. What's the offer you're accepting when your back is against the wall? Because I'm saying your back's never against the wall when you have 3. But apparently you're going to cave and you're going to sell for something. So what are you selling for?
I'll hold on until if I don't get a requisite offer, a commensurate offer to his value, then he's just going to hang out on my roster. But I'm going to get a top 8 wide receiver for him.
But it feels like they know you're going to sell. So you're not going to get the offer that you would get if you weren't going to sell. What is the offer?
They know I want to sell. That doesn't mean I'm going to sell. That means until I get the offer that I like, I'm going to put him in my pocket and he's going to hang out there. And then, in week 4 or whatever, everyone will go, all right, Shane won. Let's just go give him his top 8 wide receiver and a pick. And I'll yell at them. You should have done it earlier, you stupid assholes.
So let's talk about Hunter Meeks inbox trade here.
Ooh.
Send the 105 and 106, get the 103 and 110.
Yes.
Is this super flex? I just want to make sure we're not going down a 1 QB rabbit hole here.
All right, so let's tackle it from both examples.
Let's tackle it from both sides here.
And love to our single quarterback lovers out there.
Let's start with Superflex. We're going to say it's a 10-team Superflex start 9.
No, I want the 105 and the 106. We just did the video on the 103, and Shane and I have an opinion, and about 8 people in the comments have opinions about how our opinions suck. And I think the consensus was that the 103 is probably the spot that you'll pick in, but it also feels like if you could extract any value to move back a spot or two, everyone would do that. So I would take the 105 and the 106 here. Super flex.
I think I'm going to go to the 103 and 110 here. You get me in a good mood. I'm in this mood. I want to get to that 103 where I can control a little bit of my own fate. 105, I'm literally in just everyone else's hands. Like, I have no control over what's going to come to me. Next thing I know, I'm looking at going, oh, I guess I got to draft Quentin Johnston here. And I don't even want to look at myself in the morning. So I'm going to go with, I'll take the pick, give myself a little bit of control over the 103 or the spot of who I get.
What about 1 QB? Would you rather have the 105 and 106 or the 103 and 110? 10-team, 1 QB, start 9.
I'm taking the 103 and the 110 there.
Yeah, it's start 9. It's still going to be the 103 because now I want the singular most valuable asset. Now, if you would have said start 12, I would have went 105 and 106, but you didn't. You went start 9.
So Shane would have taken the 105 and the 103 in Superflex, but 1 QB, you would have even considered the 105 and the 106. How does that logic add up?
There's logic that makes a bunch of sense there. The 103 in Superflex is more valuable than what are we talking about? The 10.
Let's move on.
Nailed it. Thank you for that super chat, Hunter. Appreciate you. Let's quit while Shane's ahead here. This one is so let's say hi. So we got 297 people in here. We have 3 thumbs up, including Shane's uncle. Is that Shane's mom as well? Diane?
It says your mom, so that's pretty open-ended. Could be anyone's mother.
My mom's last name is not Manila.
Sounds like my mom's watching. Great. Awesome. Now
So,
I gotta watch my mouth.
Thanks for joining. We're gonna smash through a bunch of different players tonight. Do a price check. Do a Dynasty trade market value check. We also want to talk though about these players and whether or not they're a good fit for your roster construction. So is Javonte Williams, worth the 108? Maybe, but are you in a spot where you should be paying the 108 for Javonte Williams? So hopefully we'll dig into that, not just pure trades, if you will. So let's keep moving here. I wanted to put this up because this was from 6:30. Evan says, I'm a teacher who recently started a Dynasty league for my students, one of which started watching y'all. If you ever get any questions from a John/JP English, please give him the worst possible advice. Thanks for looking out. That's hilarious. Thanks for that super chat, Evan. I got you. I'll be on the lookout.
Here's one good thing, if maybe not fantasy advice, but if John's been watching this show for any amount of time, I've given terrible life advice. And that's for free. Yeah.
Did you tell earmuffs for JP English sometimes with Shane? Okay, thank you for that super chat, man. That was good stuff there. Okay, I'm not going to pull up a banner right here. What are your thoughts on Trey Lance these days, guys? So before the Purdy injury, we were talking about, we'll get out for a 24 first. We just want it out. And then Purdy gets injured, and all of a sudden, Lance is a little bit more attractive again to some people in the community. Where's your head at?
I mean, we ready for a 5-minute diatribe on this topic? Because I think there's a very narrow timeline on Brock Purdy. Let's put it that way. I know the comments last week from the GM and coach Shanahan and John Lynch kind of left us in limbo as to what is officially going on with Brock Purdy. He's considering all options. There's, 6.5 months until we're in the midst of the preseason. And so, like, if there's this surgery where there's two different options, apparently, for Brock Purdy, he has a torn UCL. There's two different options of what surgery he might need. One of them puts him out for 6 months. He could be ready by July or August throwing. The other one is like basically what pitchers get, like a UCL reconstruction that's going to put him out for a season. If I'm Brock Purdy, I'm doing everything I can to avoid the year-long injury, because that's probably going to now completely blow his opportunity to be seen as a locked-in starter. Because I think you're looking at this in two different ways. We talked about this on America's Game the other day, Eric and I, and Eric was under the impression that he just needs to get the surgery, get it fixed, to be back 100% and healthy. If I'm Brock Purdy, this is my window. If I say I'm out for the next year and a half, that's 2 free agency periods and a draft where the Niners have to address the position or at least consider it. So his standing for that job is out the window at that point. If he can somehow come back and he's healthy and he wins the job, and he's a good starter and he leads them to like the playoffs, we're talking about like a Kirk Cousins trajectory potentially. That's a $250 million life choice.
Yep.
That he could go, I want to get healthy. If he gets healthy, but he has a Tommy John reconstruction and he misses 15 months, he is back and now he's fighting for his life as a backup. Whereas this is his opportunity. The worst case scenario, he's not healthy, he doesn't win the job, or he starts and he fails and he's not that good and he's back to being relegated to a backup. Sure, he can go get the surgery at that point. But I think it's a very narrow window. The reason I bring that up is I believe it's 6 months and 5 days from now till the Niners' first preseason game. Is he having the surgery or not? Or, we should be hearing about it any day now if it's going to be the repair surgery that he could come back in July or August. So I think we're going to have to know. So I think we're going to get some clarity on this in the next couple weeks. So, Jordan or Trey Lance's value in terms of where you'd put him, I guess you probably throw him right in the mix with Will Levis range in rookie drafts, like mid to late first. I don't want to pay that, but I wouldn't blame somebody if that's what their asking price was, because he's going to get another shot, whether it's with San Fran or with another team. So I think his value is just kind of like late first range.
I would definitely take him over Will Levis and Anthony Richardson. And no, easily. Look, it's not just shade at you. I definitely would take Trey Lance over both those dudes. I am not concerned about Brock Purdy even in a little bit. Even before he blew out his arm, I wasn't worried about him. He was a figment of imagination. It was a beautiful, fun little Cinderella story that was going to crash like all Cinderella stories do. Check the Disney movies out. That's the dark version of that. Cinderella crashes the ball. And now that he's got to get reconstructive surgery or try to tough it out, is basically he's going to grit it out. He's going to do platelet enrichment therapy, which doesn't work in baseball. So I don't know what half-ass surgery he's going to get that's going to let him play football. He's still going to have to throw with that elbow, right? The one that he tore up. So I don't like his chances at all. But Trey Lance specifically, I like him better than Levy's. I like him better than Richardson. I think I came to grips with 108 in a super flex league is where I'd be willing to go for him.
I'm out on Brock Purdy. I want to get out on every share of Brock Purdy before the Super Bowl, because I feel like after the Super Bowl, there's a chance we hear some news that I can't think of any news that's going to be favorable to his value.
Exactly. Yeah.
Even if it's, hey, he had the surgery, he might be back in 5 to 6 months. Like, are you really going to bet your entire summer that the Niners are just going to wait? Remember last year when they thought Jimmy G would be back and then he wasn't? And it was like, well, we can't really count on a guy that can't throw the ball until August. So it just feels like we're not going to get any positive news on Brock Purdy. If you can still get a second for him, I'm out, which means I'm correlating all my bets across my portfolio. If that's negative for Brock Purdy, it has to be a little more positive for Trey Lance. So would I buy Trey Lance? If I would send, a late first for Trey Lance, maybe. But I'm definitely on the let's bet on Trey Lance side over Brock Purdy, despite the Niners telling us the Niners are doing everything they can to sell us on Brock Purdy as the guy. You know what I mean? They want it to be Brock Purdy. I don't know. It just feels like there's some information we don't have here that's going to come out in the next week or two. So make your move now.
Eric, thank you for the super chat, man. 10-team super flex, start 12. Trade Dak and Judy for Kyler and a 24-second. I'm not. I don't know. I'm not.
I'd take Kyler over Dak, but you could almost call those even, I guess. I think
you're going from 2 starters to 0.
Yep, I'd take the Judy over the second. That's enough of a difference there.
I'm taking Kyler. Kyler's got much more upside than Dak. Come on, guys. What are we doing? Kyler was like a top 4 quarterback coming in the last year.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we're going to talk some Dak. I got some Dak numbers from earlier in the chat, but I definitely would still take the Dak and Judy side here.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Eric. Appreciate you. Let's go over to this one right here, Professor Charlie T. So Facebook Disruptor. This is his new name, is Professor Charlie T. Part 1. Am I crazy?
Yes.
QBs. Yeah. Potentially. I actually saw what Charlie looks like. I found him somehow on Google Images or something. He looks like kind of like that. It's pretty hilarious. Okay, QBs: Allen, Watson, Wentz, Mayfield, Darnold. Wide receivers are DK, Ridley, London, Pickens, Gabe Davis, Wandale. RBs are Henry, Algier, Warren. Lottery tickets, tight end. Okay, lottery tickets. Tight end, Mandrews and Freiermuth. Part 2. Got Derrick Henry, gave first, second, third in 25. Have the 101, 108, 201, 24 first and second. Went all in on win now. Willing to commit to push because I have young talent. What else do I need to feel comfy?
I just want to clarify. I think he meant lottery ticket running backs. And
exactly. Yeah.
On the spaces for tight ends. So
right.
I mean, he's good at quarterback and tight end. That's the first thing I looked at was he's solid with Allen and Watson. He's solid with Andrews and Freiermuth. So it's really just essentially turning as many of those picks into skill players and, how many of those can he split and still get equal value, and hit the number of prerequisite receivers. He needs a couple more receivers, obviously, but he's also got 4 firsts and an extra first in 24 or a first and a second in 24. I mean,
How many starters is this? Did I miss that?
So it is, I wonder if it's the last part, the part 3. Is it worth selling out to get 103 and 104 to grab QB/JSN, thinking the 201 and 24 first plus a depth piece? I don't see the number of starters and whatnot.
Let's assume 10. That's probably better.
All right, go back to that first list of wide receivers. I want to feel comfy. We're going to turn Pickens and Gabe Davis into a real boy. And get me a real wide receiver there. I like London, obviously. Ridley, I'm very high on, but I want to go get me a real legitimate difference-making wide receiver instead of having those 2 ancillary pieces is one of the things I'd like to do right now. But that's not what he asked, but oh well.
I mean, we're assuming 10 starters, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm not throwing in Gabe Davis to upgrade because I want Gabe Davis. I want Gabe Davis as my flex or my wide receiver 6 or 7 because I have Josh Allen. Like that's a piece that I have no equity if I'm trading him. He's not even worth a second. So it's like I'd rather just have him. I'm okay with, I guess, trading a 24 first and the 201 to get the 103 or 104. I think the other problem he has is he's carrying Wentz and Mayfield, and probably the best bet is to just bank on one of those guys being your QB3. But it sounds like he may be wanting to draft a QB3, which now he's at a point where can he turn Wentz and Mayfield into a couple seconds or a couple thirds and turn those into running backs and fit, more running backs roster construction wise in there. Cause that's probably what he's going to use the 201 on would be a running back, but he's trading that away. So I'm okay with the consolidation. I think he asked a question a couple weeks ago around, I think maybe the same team. Because I remember some of the same components to it. I remember the Henry for the 25 or for the first, second, and third deal, I believe he posted to us on that. I'm just hesitant. I get it. If there's deals ahead of you and right in front of you that you can make today, I'm hesitant to just start throwing around picks, though, to build like this perfect team of 8, 10, 12 players now. There's just not a rush. Yeah. So, I mean, I get it, but we get a lot of questions like this. It's like, okay, it's a start 11. Should I do this, this, and this? And now I have the prettiest group of like 12 players. Mm-hmm. But then you've sold your 24 first, you've sold a lot of your depth, and now you're basically like, okay, my team's ready. But then it's March, and there's a long way from when it's actually ready to score points. So just don't rush it. But I like the trade value that he posted, the 24 first and the 201. That's fine for the 103 or 104.
I just saw a message. Scott, you're still on the clock. Unless you just made the pick, you made one of your
still
two
on the
picks.
clock.
You made one of your 2 picks, so we're Dr. Dan. we're late in the startup anyway. So
I gotta say,
draft
just
the trash can.
Just some etiquette, right? If you're in a dynasty startup draft or the rookie draft and you have back-to-back picks, only a horrible person makes one of those picks and then wanders off and does something else. I just need to put that out there.
When that little green dot on sleeper like goes away.
Yeah.
Like after you make the first pick, it just goes away.
Yeah. And now you're like, oh, I'm gonna go.
Do you know what time I made that pick?
What time?
8:30 and 5 seconds. What happened at 8:30, Shane? We started a stream, so I'll go in and make my pick while you're talking.
Okay, let's go here to well, yeah, I mean Shane. Wait, let's put this one up first here. Daniel Kaufman, 12-team Superflex, start 10, tight end premium. In the total rebuild, have Herbert and Pickett at QB and not much else. I have the 101, 102, 104, 106, 108, and 111. What would you be looking to do with these picks? What would you pay for T-Law? Amon-Ra, Lamb have had talks about these guys. 12-team Superflex, tight end premium, start 10. Total rebuild, at least he has a lot of assets, right? So he's not in a rebuild with no picks. He's got Herbert. What would you be looking to do for him? I mean, would you give up, how about the 104 for Kyler? See if you can sneak that. Just you know, go after someone who's not playing right now. One of the elite guys you might be able to get.
I mean, he's got a ton of draft capital. I'm just gonna blind someone with the 104, the 106, and the 108, and never mind that two of those picks aren't very, especially they're valuable, but they're not, worth more than an elite quarterback, and see if I can go get me an elite quarterback with 3 firsts, because I guarantee you there's at least one dude or dudette in your league that has nothing but quarterbacks and is just like, wow, this is a trash can. Let me go ahead and just turn this around on 3 first-round draft picks, because if I hit on all 3 of these, then all I'll need to complete this team is a quarterback.
I'm just disagreeing with Shane tonight. He even says he has nothing else besides these picks. This is not the time to give 3 firsts for a quarterback when there could be more creative ways to do it. Like, can he sell the 101 for a quarterback?
No, he's going to draft Bijan.
Can he sell the 102 and Kenny Pickett for Trevor Lawrence? I'd rather do that than give up 3 firsts.
Oh, well, if you're going to do that, just trade the 102 straight up for Trevor Lawrence. Trade
the
102 and a second rounder for Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, that was his question. That was one of them. What would you pay for T-Law? So what's the most that we'd pay? It's in a rebuild, doesn't have anything other than Herbert and Pickett.
I've paid a 102 and a 24 first, and I'm completely comfortable with that for Trevor Lawrence. If someone wants to take Pickett instead of a 24 first, I will thank sweet baby Jesus and make that trade immediately.
I would give up the 101 for every quarterback in the top 9. So that's out there. Now, a lot of people will go, I don't want to trade Bijan. They especially if you've tanked for Bijan. Yep. It's like he's just closer to your heart than other players, other picks. So it's like, how else do I get that quarterback without paying Bijan? But if it's just a clean 1-for-1, I get Trevor Lawrence, you get the 101. I still have these 5 firsts. Can I turn that 108 into a future first and a later second? Can I turn the 111 into a future first and a third, something like that? Right. Then you have 4 picks. I mean, I would give the 104 for Amon-Ra or CeeDee Lamb. 102, I think a lot of people would probably pay the 102 for CeeDee Lamb. I probably wouldn't at this point, just because it feels like I can hold for 2 more months and get the same trade, especially with the Brian Schottenheimer news and the kind of the direction the Dallas offense is going. Like, that's not necessarily a price I want to pay, but I don't want to give up 3 of my assets just for 1 piece, though. Feels like the team isn't ready for that. So try the 101, try the 102, like Shane said.
Yeah, but if that other asset's Jalen Hurts or Patrick Mahomes, I'll give up 3 first. I'll figure it out.
Sure.
Yep. Okay, thank you for that. Thank you for that super chat. Oh, real quick, just super quick. What are we paying for Amon-Ra? If we want him, are we giving the 104?
Yeah, I'll give up the 104 for Amon-Ra.
I'm not going to be happy about it, but I'll do it. CeeDee Lamb in a total rebuild, would you be good giving up the 102? See if you can buy CeeDee Lamb.
No.
In a super flex, yeah, you don't necessarily want to do that. You want to see if Sorry, I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth. I just don't know if I want to give up the 102 and 104 right now.
Yeah,
if I need to rebuild and need to do some.
I don't want to give up that 102. I'll give up the 104 for Amon-Ra or someone like that, but I don't think I'd give up the 102 for Mr. Lamb.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Thank you for that super chat. Let's keep on moving here. Let's talk real quick about the so a price check on the value of picks right now. So it is February 7th. Okay. So early first round picks, February 7th. We're talking about how we like to have the flexibility of the picks in early February. When is that going to start changing to where it's like, okay, maybe instead of the 103, I'd want to buy CD Lamb? You know, is it when tiers start shaking out? How does the timeline work? We like the flexibility now, but when are we maybe going to go the other way and want to buy some players?
I think that's the thing that I was going back and forth today on Twitter was there's not a lot of buyers for the picks. You know, that's the difference between what it was 9 months ago and what it is today. I'm not saying the picks aren't valuable. In fact, I even said the profiles you're going to get in this year's class are good. It's 10, 12, 15, 18 potentially deep. In terms of just, I'm telling you the name, I'm looking at their profile, and then I'm going to give you their draft capital, right? Like there's going to be 5 first-round receivers potentially, 4 first-round quarterbacks, first-round tight end, maybe 2, maybe 3 or 4 running backs that might go in the first 2 rounds. Like that's enough skill players to go 15 deep in a super flex of good profiles until you actually price out who those players are and what the market demand is for those picks. I could tell you right now that there's going to be this many players that go in the first 2 rounds of the draft, quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, tight ends. But then you go try to sell the 111 and it's like, I don't really know what I'm going to get. So I do think there is a level of people that don't know yet are a little hesitant. Maybe that changes when we get to the combine, when we get to the draft. But at that point, if you've held the 111 until 2 days before your rookie draft starts, did you not lose value on what that pick was 9 months ago when it was a random first? Like, doesn't it feel like you're kind of waiting for this boom that may or may not happen? Isn't that the whole reason why you acquired the picks at the cost last summer, was to hope that there is just a craze for the first 8-10 picks like there was in 2020 or 2021, to where it was like in 2020, if you had a top 8 pick, it was gold. If you had the 108, it might as well have been the 103 because everyone kind of viewed the tier that way. Same in 2021. You know, there was like the top 3 quarterbacks, but then it was like 5 or 6 really strong profiles after that. And if you held one of those picks, it was really hard to get into that tier, but you could have easily traded out of that tier if you were willing to go out of the tier. It just doesn't feel like that. It doesn't even feel like we know where those tiers are. If you're talking about trading the 105 right now, what are you getting for the 105? And I think part of it is there's just not a lot of assets that I would want, or that Shane would want, or Clay would want, that people are willing to part with and take the gamble on the pick. It's like we want elite quarterbacks, we want young receivers, and we want what else? Positional advantages at tight end.
Yeah.
That's what, maybe 20 players. We're not really interested in buying a lot of running backs, at least not with firsts. We're not interested in buying wide receiver 2s and 3s and 4s with firsts. So it's like our pool of what we're willing to buy is so slim that it feels like you're kind of just stuck with the picks, but we also know the profiles are really strong. So I don't want to undersell my 106 because, in 3 months, it could be a lot more valuable.
Yeah, and that's the issue is what I'm willing to buy is players that have already hit, like T. Higgins, like you said, the young wide receivers. And if you try to sell me the tier below that, then I'm just like, I don't want them. Like I traded the 108 for Chris Godwin. I'll do that. You know what I mean? Something like that. Yeah. But I might as well just hold on to the pick if someone's not going to give me, like, I'm not going to give up the 102 for Chris Godwin. So I might as well just hold the pick, make the pick, and hope that I get JSN or not hope that I get JSN, but just hope whichever wide receiver I end up drafting actually comes through.
Let's move on to a super chat here. We have am I in the starred section here? Shane peaked it up there. Davis Daniels, again, way too generous with a $100 super chat here. Thank you, man. Like seriously, you can skip a night doing this. by all means. Give us $5 next time. I'm being genuine when I say that, but also genuine when I say thanks. How cheesy was that? Love the show, guys. Thankful for you guys. Quick question. RBs are Brees, ETN, Saquon, the 102, 104, 106, 112, and 424 first. I really want Bijan, but I think I'm being greedy trying to get him. What's a comfortable price to give up for him? The rest of the assets to give with wide receivers are T, Tyreek, Diggs, Monra St. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Drake London, and Ridley.
I mean, no, you're not being greedy. If I'm a billionaire and I walk into a car dealership and there's 5 cars that I want and I go, I'm just going to buy the dealership, then you have enough money to do it. It's same thing here. Like, you got how many different ways can you put together a package to get Bijan that would at least be entertained? And you have so many assets. I mean, this is just a wealth of riches. Brees, ETN, Saquon, 2 top 4 picks, 2 other firsts, 4 firsts and 24. I mean, we don't even know the rest of his roster, but I'm assuming it's pretty stacked. So I don't know. Any combination of a 2-for-1 that someone would take, I think you can put together like probably 10 different offers and just see, what they're interested in. But yeah, you can go get Bijan. This is your time to splurge. Go do it.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're trading 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 picks for him, 6 picks for him, 5 picks for him.
So this is his league. This is his league where he has only one stud quarterback, though. We'll have to reach out to him and find out what the deal is with that, because he's got tons of assets. I want to say he just has Herbert. And it's a super flex, and the other one is kind of like a Pickett level. But anyway,
how do you want to go about it, Shane? How would you want to actually go about the offer? What would be your first offer? What would be the preferred deal you would send? Like, what player and what pick? I assume it's a combination of the two.
Yeah, go back to the first.
It doesn't have to be, but he says that he can tag on these players to the picks.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, yeah, obviously.
I mean, his receivers are disgusting too. So
can I let me just try to trade Tyreek and the 112, just because he's an aging asset. Saquon in the 112. Well, I'm going to start there. I'm not going to be like, all right, well, here's the 104 and the 106 and Saquon and give me Bijan.
No, I know.
Clay's head to Wentworth, like, if he got that trade offer, he's just
no. I know
that.
Shane being Shane.
Look, no, you don't look. That's not insultingly low. You're offering a first and a top 4 position player by production. Maybe not.
I would just. I don't know. For me, I would rather just sell picks and keep my hammers just to at least lock up the ship. I would start with the 104 and 112 for the 101, and I'd be willing to go down to the 104 and the 106.
Can I get greedy with the trade offer that I'm going to offer?
Yes.
I'm going to offer the 102 and the 106.
Okay.
You give me the 101 and your 24 first.
And I did.
yeah.
Okay, and then I go down to the 104, and I offer you the 102 and the 104 for the 101 and your 24 first.
I decline.
Put those out there, though. If you can, that is how you maintain this monster to where you still get what you want, but you also take the bet on the team's 24 first. This team now has to hit on these 2 rookie picks. And if they don't, you're hitting on another 24 first, which gives you 5 out of 12.
Yeah,
which means you're going to have extreme leverage next year too. I'm just saying that's what I would try before I just start throwing him 3 assets for 1. Can I kind of back my way into the second strong asset that he may not value as much as the 2 that I'm giving him? Yep. But damn, if things go wrong for his team, man, I'm sitting on another 24 first. That's what I'd try to do.
Yeah, and I get what Clay's saying, but I'd rather trade a human being than the pick. Just because the human being is aging and fragile, whereas the pick hasn't been made yet and it's still fungible. So that's why I'd probably try to move Saquon, although I did trade for Saquon in the league today.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you again, Davis. Appreciate that, man. Let's hit this Fizzle Dollars one real quick. Price check on Jordan Love. If he's announced day 1 starter and they draft another weapon in this draft, would you take him over these rookie QBs in this draft if that happened?
No.
Interesting question. It's an interesting question.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's very interesting that you're clearly in on Trey Lance as QB3, but Jordan Love isn't even close.
I've seen well, no, you're right. That one pass
I
that
haven't
Jordan
seen
left.
either one
No,
play.
no, that one pass that he completed to Christian Watson was really nice. The way that he let Watson just turn it up.
You mean the 4-yarder across the middle of the field that Watson took
Yeah,
60?
yeah, right.
No, Jordan Love to me, I just think he would have been. I don't know, and this sounds crazy, right? If they could have pushed Rodgers out of there, out of Green Bay, if there was any chance to do that, if they had any belief that Jordan Love wasn't atrocious, they would have done that just to be rid of the Aaron Rodgers situation, who's now going on a dark retreat to think about life and football. So I'll take him over probably Will Levis, except that Will Levis is going to be the number 1 overall pick for reasons that I can't explain.
I wouldn't take him over Will Levis. No way. Why do I think that Jordan Love's just going to suck if he's announced day one start? Like, he's going to be horrific.
You think he's going to be horrific? I
think he's going to be really bad.
Maybe.
So it's going to be interesting with Jordan Love if they pick up his 5th-year option. If they trade Rodgers, are they going to pick up his 5th-year option? The answer is probably no, but you never know. Because here's the thing. If Jordan Love goes out and he's good, guess what? He's a free agent.
Yeah.
So now he has all the leverage over the Packers, and now they're staring at, okay, maybe we have to franchise tag Jordan Love to keep him, a la like where the Giants sit right now with Daniel Jones. The Giants want to keep Daniel Jones, but you saw that report today. The Giants are, it's around like 35, 37 million a year for Daniel Jones. And I'm sitting here going like, I'm sticking my finger up at that offer because the franchise tag is, between 32 and 46 million. So why would he sign an extension, a 2-year deal? So I think there's just some risk with how the Packers treat Jordan Love. If they pick up his 5th-year option, it sounds like they're probably committed to him for at least a year. I think the pragmatic move, though, is as soon as he's named the starter, you're selling him.
Yeah.
I'd sell him for a 24 first. I don't care about the quarterbacks in this class. I mean, I wouldn't take him over these quarterbacks, but I think he's in the same boat.
Let's do a price check on DeAndre Swift. Are you going to give the 107 for him in Superflex?
No.
I'd barely give him 112.
Anything that starts with 1-0, it's not going to happen.
So you like Javonte Williams better than Swift?
Yes.
I don't really like either, but yeah, I'd probably take Javonte over Swift. But they're both outside the top 10, which I don't think you're buying either one for the 111, 112 at this point.
That's the problem. I haven't seen him sold for like a couple seconds. Like the owner still wants a 1 in front of it.
No, yeah, and I'd hold on to him if that's my best offer because I know, well, he's a running back and I know his skill set is at least advantageous if he can ever actually stay on the field and maybe command a majority of the rushing work over 37-year-old Jamal Williams or whoever they get to replace him. That I know that the community is going to go nuts for him, and then I could flip him.
Let's move to let's move to another question. We'll do some rapid fire price checks as well, but let's go to Garrett here. I got Burrow. Thank you for the super chat. I got Burrow, Fields, Waddle, Ridley, Bateman, Burks. No running back. Komet at tight end. But I have the 103, 106, 107, 110, and 524 firsts and 3 seconds across the 2 years. Would you go for it and deal picks to try to win this year, or stay the course and go for the win in 24 and make smart decisions as they arise? Any suggestions on moves? Superflex, PPR, start 9, non-tight end premium.
So I'll just say this. Whenever I see a team, my brain is always looking at what's the format, what's the roster construction I would want to get to. He's got the quarterbacks kind of locked down, and the tight end isn't quite locked down. So I think one of the first things we would look at is there a way you could go get a positional advantage at tight end? It's not tight end premium though, so I'm not super interested in like just paying out the ass to get one unless it's a very specific deal. Like the tight end's almost like the last thing that I would go and get. So I look at running backs and receivers, basically the equivalent of draft picks. I can always turn draft picks into running backs and receivers. It's just about what the time is. He's essentially asking, he has 9 firsts over the next 2 years. Does he try to turn this into a competitive lineup? I think the answer is yes. You just do it strategically. You don't trade all 9 picks for 8 or 9 players and go, yeah, I have a good starting lineup now. You look for the spots where you can maybe make one big deal, but then you also try to split one of those assets? Can I trade the 107 for, the 112 and a 24 first or something like that? Like, can I make a deal where I'm trading back and accumulating more assets and still keeping the train rolling? I want to get closer to competing, but I also don't want to go, oh, I made all these picks and I traded 4 of my 24 first, and now I have 6 lineup players and I'm ready to go. Well, no, because now you've given yourself a really thin margin. If you don't win next year, now you're right back at the pack, right? You only have 124 first. So I think you got the train rolling. It's just how do you split some of these assets and still turn it into a competitive shot in 23? But I still don't want to give up my leverage of potentially getting even higher end assets in 24.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh my God! I'll attach a first to every one of these useless ass wide receivers. No, not Ridley. Sorry about that, buddy. I didn't mean that. Bateman and 106. Go get a real wide receiver. Burks 103. Go get a real wide receiver. 17 and 110. Go get a couple real wide receivers. And then I got 524 first. Guess what? If every one of my trades fails, which they won't, because I'm good at trading, I still got those picks to buttress my roster. That's probably what I'd end up doing. I'd probably hold on to a couple of these picks, like 103, maybe try to get Jahmyr Gibbs. But yeah, like Bateman and 106 to go get, like I said, a real wide receiver. Because you've got a bunch of wide receiver 4s, and it'd be nice to have at least like one wide receiver 1 besides Waddle. Excuse me. So you have one wide receiver 1 and then a bunch of wide receiver 4s.
Shane, send me a Calvin Ridley trade in the excuse me, Dynasty Trades in 5 auction league.
I'm not going to pay you what I'm not going to pay what I
just send me an offer.
I'll give you a random second.
A random thought just came to my head. This is whenever we get these questions on either here or on roster reviews, where it's like, I have my 2 quarterbacks, I have my stud tight end, but then I have all these picks. And usually it's my running backs are just complete dog shit. I don't even have any. I don't have enough receivers. What do I do? And those are the best ones, because that's where like Shane and I's brain just works totally differently. And it's just almost like the analogy of like you just put Shane in a room and you just give him like all these things and you just tell him to like get out of the room. You know what I mean? It's a locked room. There's no windows. Shane, here's a ton of tools. Just get out of it. Let's just throw shit everywhere until it opens. You know?
He's toast.
That's what the analogy is. And I'm sitting here like trying to meticulously measure each one of these picks going, okay, how would I approach this? Because I have 9 firsts. I never want to splurge and spend too many of them and not get enough back and lose all my leverage. Where Shane's just like, fuck.
Look, you have to be really, really terrible at fantasy football to blow 9 picks. Now, you know how you do that? You make too many of them. Because look, we love picks, and we've talked about this all the time. But I love picks because I can usually try to trade them for actual players. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to do the opposite of a reroll. Can I get Garrett Wilson for picks this year? Since I didn't get him last year, can I get Drake London for picks this year because I didn't get him last year? Because you've already vetted them for me, right? And you're great at hitting on rookies, whoever you are. This the proverbial trade partner of mine. You're great at hitting on rookies. Me, not so much. So you should just take these rookie picks because I'm sure you're going to easily find another Garrett Wilson.
Okay, let's say hi to the group again. We got 419 people in here. If you wouldn't mind taking a peek down, hit that little thumbs up, give us a like if you're on the YouTube machine. We'd appreciate that. Easiest way to help our channel. 420. There you go. Spark a blunt over there, Shane.
Yo, hit on and hit the share. Hit the share.
Little binger.
If yeah, hit the share. 500 people. I'm making Clay and Scott stay on until like midnight.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Let's move on to another one here. I got Shane's answer, but Clay and Scott. Send Kamara, get an projected early 24 first. Done. Leaves my RB core as Akers, James Cook, AJ Dillon, Cordell Patterson, and Mostert.
Yeah, Quentin must have sent this one to Shane behind the scenes, but he still sent it a super chat in for $4.99 to ask us about would you take an early 24 first? And I'm with Clay. Yes, do it. Forget about what your running back room looks like. You're now sitting on a much more valuable asset. So I don't know how he pulled it off, but that's a very good return for Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, you know what? And just as an aside, and I already gave him my opinion on this, but if anytime you can trade a running back that's 27, 28 years old, likely to see a 6-game suspension for a future first. I don't care who you're running. I don't care if you have one running back. If it's the only running back on your roster, you trade him.
Yeah, no, for sure. You can figure it out. Not worried about getting running backs from now until we have to set some lineups. Okay, let's go to this one. Eli, and thank you for that super chat, Quentin. Eli Smith, thank you, sir. Traded my brother the 110, 209, and Terrace Marshall for Amon Ra in a start 9 super flex. Did I win? Yes.
So that's either collusion or it's your little brother and you beat him up and made him hit accept. That's not right. I would tell on you if I was him.
Yeah, come on.
Not cool.
I don't even have a brother, and this is definitely
Well,
little brother teasing right here.
If Eli keeps making trades like this with his brother, he's not going to have a brother either because he's going to disown him because he's going to be mad at him because his brother's fantasy football team's going to suck.
Yes, you beat your brother. You beat him up.
Yeah, he beat him up, Eli.
Not cool.
Not cool. Not cool. Make sure you hit the like, though. Okay, thank you for that. So let's go to Simon Joseph here. Inbox trade. His Pitts and 202, my DK 107. It's a 12-team Superflex PPR, start 9, no tight end premium. His quarterbacks are Watson, Lawrence, Russ. Wide receivers are DK, Garrett Wilson, London, Christian Watson, and JMO. Running backs are the 101, Akers, and Meh. Tight end Goddard. The second part here is picks are 101, 107, 108, 203. Replace DK at 108.
It's an interesting one because I'm thinking, okay, you're getting the positional advantage, but he already has Goddard. So
yep.
I don't hate it. I just talked about Kyle Pitts today. I looked a little more into Kyle Pitts, and I mean, he's just such an outlier relative to his position that it almost feels like even if this is a neutral trade today, there is so much of a window for it to be an advantage trade for you down the road. DK is good. The 107 over the 202, which I'd rather have the 107, but you're still going to get a good profile at the 202, like we talked about. Like you could still get a first-round receiver or second-round running back. You know, I mean, there's still going to be good options there. So I'm okay with it. I think the window you have on this deal to be good for you on the Pitts side is much longer than the Metcalf side. So I'd be okay taking Pitts even at a non-tight end premium.
Dude, smash the Pitts
smashing
side.
The Pitts side.
Absolutely smashing the Pitts side. Yeah. Yeah, and I like DK, but nah. Pitts is – I'm still unusually high on him.
He doesn't have to do a whole lot to be back where he was like, untouchable previously, like unattainable. Yeah. Right. I mean, the risk reward on him is so huge. So it's kind of
if he just has his rookie year with, I don't know, 4 touchdowns instead of 1.
Yeah.
We're talking about one of the greatest tight end seasons in the history of football. So, yeah.
Yep. All right. Thank you for that super chat, man. Actually asking for a friend real quick. I've got a roster where all the pieces are in place. Okay. It's 12 teams, start 9, half PPR. Tight ends are full PPR. I don't need a quarterback. I've got Fields, Lamar, and Dak, and I've got the 103. Okay. No tight end though. Do I trade the 103 and 112 for Kyle Pitts? And I get back, no, it's 103, 112 for Kyle Pitts and a 24 first.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because I mean the value difference in the 112 and the 24 first is an advantage
bigger
for you.
than the 103 versus Kyle Pitts.
Easily.
That's what I'm thinking.
I was even evaluating at the 103 and the 112 for Kyle Pitts, and if that was your need, even though the format isn't like I'm just going to go overpay for a tight end. I mean, you're getting the 24 first back. Yeah, not close.
Not close. Okay. I'm a little scared. That league likes picks, so maybe I'll just wait a little bit. Okay, Devi trades in 5. Oh God, I'll be in a gutter. I'll be in a freaking gutter. All right, hide this. Let's move on here to how about Dakota? 1 of 2. 10 team PPR Superflex tight end premium start 10. How much is enough for the 101? I have an offer with the 104, 109, and either the 204 or Deontay Johnson. That's the best offer I'm going to get. So let's start with that without seeing the rest of it. 10 team Superflex PPR start 10. 104, 109, and either the 204 or Deontay Johnson.
I'm taking 101.
Yeah, I mean, 10 teams start 10. That's the equivalent of like a 12 team start 8. So you're really, I get it. He probably has lineup spots to fill, which is why it's appealing for him to get multiple pieces for the 101, as evidenced by his quarterback room. And then looking at the rest of his team, yeah, he definitely has some lineup spots to fill. I still would rather have, I would rather get a deal where I'm getting 2 pieces, even if it's not as good of total value as this. I'd just rather get 2 pieces versus take a package of 3 in this format. It's too shallow. It's basically a start 8. Like, I'm not giving up the one cornerstone asset, even if it's a running back.
And that's the thing is, even if this was the 103, I can convince myself, right? Because then I go, all right, I got Bryce Young or CJ Stroud. I've at least addressed my quarterback situation. But with getting the 104, I don't know that I get either of those guys. And then I'm like, oh, great. I'm just going to be adding Jahmyr Gibbs to, my quarterback, to hang out with my quarterbacks, Mac Jones, and whatever other disgusting.
I mean, you get Anthony Richardson, so that's okay.
Anthony Richardson. It's so funny because there's been some people after that video who have commented in the comments and been like housing Shane on it, being like, I'm sorry, but dude on the left couldn't be more wrong.
Oh,
like he wasn't kicked out of Florida, blah, 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 blah. And just,
Yeah,
I wanted just to respond saying Shane just, it's Shane being Shane. Just trashing Anthony.
No. Well, look, a lot of people rightly pointed out that if he just fixes his fundamentals,
if he just learns how to play football, he's going to be great.
Yeah. Like outside of the physical skills, if he just fixes everything else, like the upside is tremendous. And I cannot disagree with that. That is correct. So if everything else gets correct, no problem.
No problem. Okay, let's move on to the next one here. And we just shut off super chats. We probably waited a little bit too long there, but thank you to everyone who gave them. We appreciate that. We definitely got a bunch more to hammer through. Let's go to Dylan here. 12 team Superflex, start 9, 6 point per passing touchdown. Trade Justin Jefferson, Cousins, the 206 for Mahomes. My QBs are Kirk, Lance, Gino, and Russ.
I'm doing it. Shane, where's your principles, man? It's Patrick Mahomes.
It is Patrick Mahomes. Start 9. Jefferson, Cousins, 206. Kirk. Yeah, do it. Sucks giving up Jefferson, but you got to do it. It's Pat Mahomes. It's the QB2 in Dynasty football, only behind Jalen Hurts.
It's steep. I mean, would you be talking to the Herbert owners and everybody else in like the top 6 or something just to see if you can somehow get them cheaper? But I mean, if you're trading Cousins, you're going to need to throw in a Jefferson type player to get anybody in that top tier, right?
I'm guessing he wants Jefferson and Cousins together, maybe too. So I don't know if you go to the Justin Herbert manager and say, can I give you Jefferson in the 206? And it even starts the conversation. It comes back to this. Somebody is willing to trade Patrick Mahomes and they are willing to put this inbox offer in your inbox to where all you have to do is hit accept and you have Patrick Mahomes on your team. Yeah. Like 90% of the leagues you go, is Patrick Mahomes available for trade? I have Jamar Chase. I have Justin Jefferson. I have the 101. I have Kirk Cousins. I have a future first. Nah, man, I'm good.
Yeah, you figure it out.
Like he's available, you kind of just take it and figure it out the rest later.
Yeah, do it. Okay, thanks for that super chat, Dylan. And Shane, if you wouldn't mind, so Dakota's last message, it was a 3-parter.
I started him off.
No, you definitely did star them all. I don't think, if you wouldn't mind going back, the third part, she said she was mainly curious about Deontay and such. And I know I unstarred that, and we didn't address that specific portion of it. And she gave us a super chat for it. So
I'm just looking for the random third part of the
You're looking. Yeah. Go ahead. So Scott, this next question's for you. Thank you very much.
Dynasty Trades in scavenger hunts.
Yeah.
Send Shane on a scavenger hunt for one random comment.
Kyle, thank you for the super chat, man. 10-team Superflex PPR start 10. QBs are Mahomes, Carr. Wide receivers are Waddle, Garrett Wilson, DJ Moore, Mike Williams, Treylon Burks. Running backs are Brees, Gibson. Have the 101 and 110, 224 first. Take Bijan at 101 or try to package for a QB. Best deal I found is 101 and Carr for Kyler.
So I'm not even giving 101 for Kyler in a 12 team. So let alone a 10 team, and I'm giving up Derek Carr. With Mahomes, you have a little more leeway to be flexible on your second quarterback or your third quarterback in this case, whatever, wherever you want to consider Carr, your QB2 or QB3. I'm just taking Bijan. I have the 110. I have 224 first. If I can't find a third quarterback, kind of pair with Carr and just platoon. That's what you're seeing in startups right now. It's very hard to get the two elite quarterbacks. You guys have seen it. It's very hard to go and get two elite quarterbacks. So you almost have to build your QB rooms like what is my new startup QB room, Clay? Cousins, Carr, Mahomes.
Yep.
It's exactly this. So could you get Kirk Cousins for, you trade back or you swap a first and a second and you get Kirk Cousins in a deal? Could you get Cousins in a second for the 110, something like that? I'd rather do that and just play it with what I have and take Bijan.
Yeah, I'm not going to do this for Kyler. I like Kyler still. But feet to the fire, I'm not giving up the 101 for Kyler right now. He should be at a discount. If I can't get him for a discount, then I'm not going to do it. I'm not. The Windows opportunities there to buy him, sure, but I'll pass.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Kyle. Appreciate that.
I found all Dakotas. Put them all in a row for you.
You put them all in a row? Okay.
Backwards.
I just wanted to make sure. The last part of her, thank you, Shane. Last part of her question was mainly curious if Deontay or the 204 is worthy of that crucial 3-for-1. Do you remember that part here?
I remember it. It's 104, 109, and Deontay are the 204 for the 101, basically. Mm-hmm. It's a math thing, right? It's a 10-team start 10. So again, in a 12-team start 12, yes, this will be a much more viable trade. It's a shallow league, though. It's literally a 12-team start 8.
Yeah, no.
So I'm not doing a 3-for-1. You'd almost have to add. You'd have to add another piece that in a 2-for-1 I would consider taking it, which is probably going to be one of those tier 2 receivers. So it's a Waddle, Higgins, somebody like that. That's what the next receiver would have to be for me even to consider this. And the other person's probably not doing that. So no, it's not enough.
Okay. Hopefully that helped you out. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Shane. Okay. Jeter's gift basket. Which rookie wide receiver is at their value peak? I.e. Price is a top 12 wide receiver, but won't ever live up to that in terms of production, a la Juju, DJ Moore a few years ago. I mean, is Garrett Wilson and Olave pretty much?
Yeah, they're pretty much maxed out.
Yeah.
Honestly, unless you can get them for a silly good offer like George Pickens in a second, they're really expensive right now. And just based off what we've seen out of wide receivers in the past, well, most players out of the past, if you hit your apex, it's usually time to sell, right? You could say the same about Jefferson. You could say the same about Chase. It's just, what am I going to get in return? But it's probably Olave and Wilson. I can't, how much further can their value go, really?
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about just top 12, then yeah, it's Olave and Wilson, because here's the thing. It's not that they're not belonging in this range. It's just they're preferred in this range over the other guys that are already established in this range. They just might be a couple years older, or they're not this year's it player that everybody wants. I mean, you put Chris Olave or Garrett Wilson on the block and you have 9 of the 11 other teams in your league are going, oh, I'm interested. You put Amon-Ra St. Brown on the block, people will be interested, but not as much as if it's Garrett Wilson. So that's the thing is what is the difference between the two? To a smart manager, if you try to get their Amon-Ra St. Brown plus for Garrett Wilson, they're going to go, what am I really gaining there? It's hard to make those deals. At the same time, though, it is fair to say if a guy is priced at wide receiver 4, 5, 6, I mean, I was looking at RotoViz the other day. They have Garrett Wilson at wide receiver 4. Can't go much higher. You're telling me, or I think they had him at wide receiver 5. The only guys ahead of him were A.J. Brown, CeeDee Lamb, Chase, and Jefferson. He can't go any higher than that. No. You know what I mean? So The other name is Pickens. I've talked about Pickens a lot. Like what he did in his as a rookie just does not track with where he's valued. Like he's wide receiver 19 or wide receiver 20. Like just his rookie year wasn't that good.
Yeah.
So that's another one that you could argue is just kind of a wide receiver 2. And if you can sell him at wide receiver 2 price or more, then do it.
And that's what I'll say is that the Pickens one is like the easy sell for me, right? Like that's the one that, like, without a doubt, I'm like, yeah, I'm selling him right now. This is his peak. The one that is a little harder for me to do would be trading away Olave or Garrett Wilson. Because any deal I make, like, I don't feel like I'm getting requisite value because most people are trying to do like that Christian Watson in a second. And I'm like, no, that's not even close.
Well, here's the optics of the trade. If I have Garrett Wilson and I send you Garrett Wilson and a second for T. Higgins in a first, are you accepting it?
I should take T. Higgins in the first.
Right. If I send you Garrett Wilson for DJ Moore and a 24 first, are you accepting it?
I should take DJ Moore in the 24 first.
That the thing is how do you move off of a guy like Olave or Wilson? And really the answer is this. You catch a manager that has to have that player.
Yeah.
That's it. If you're trying to send that trade to a smart manager that's going to look at that deal like Shane and he goes, okay, I'm getting Garrett Wilson, but I'm blowing my future first for what I think might be a overvalued receiver that has a 30% chance of ending up like DJ Moore. You know what I mean? Like there's the optics of that trade. You just don't accept it because you go, I'm smart enough not to send my first for one tier up at wide receiver. And that's where it's just hard to see deals get done. So that makes me say, why would I trade Garrett Wilson? Because all the deals I'm sending out where I'm getting the leverage, none of them are getting accepted. So now I'm going too far down.
Would you take, and this is how my brain's working on these two players specifically, would you take a 24 first in DJ Moore or Justin Jefferson?
Jefferson.
Would you take Ja'Marr Chase or DJ Moore in a 24 first?
Jefferson or Chase.
Because the range of outcomes for Wilson and Olave say that that's what it is, right? So you've got to be a betting man one way or the other, or a betting woman. You got to have some conviction.
It does, but to be fair, Chase and Jefferson have seasons where they've hit 20 plus points per game already. When that tracks at age 22 already, that's different than what Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave did. With Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave and Drake London to an extent, we're looking more at some of the usage numbers and saying, well, the market share this, the air yards this, the yards per route run this. Like we're kind of projecting that we know damn well that Garrett Wilson, if he is stuck with a quarterback situation like he was last year, he is going on the track of being the next DJ Moore, right? You're also betting with these guys that they do find themselves into a situation where they get their Dak Prescott, they get their Tua, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They find their offensive efficiency that elevates them closer to that Chase or Jefferson range. That's what there's no question whether they're good enough to do it. DJ Moore is good enough to do it. You know, I've maintained DJ Moore and CeeDee Lamb are almost identical players. One had Dak Prescott, one didn't. That's it. That's the only thing that separates the two.
Let's put this up here because this obviously ties into that because Wilson and Olave are in here. How do you guys feel about moving from a guy like Diggs to a guy like Wilson or Olave on a competitive team? Do you take the value? Would you pay Diggs plus? So what are you paying on top of Diggs, who's a great contending piece? What would you pay on top of Diggs to get Garrett Wilson? Would you give Diggs and the 110 for Garrett Wilson in the Superflex?
Can I get a second?
I'll let Shane take this one because this is how his brain is working. Can
I get a second back?
Not at first. Is that your counter?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, that's where I'm going to start. Look, here's where it's going to end. I'm going to take Wilson and whatever you give me back, which is probably going to be 2/3. And I'm going to go, all right, I don't know if this is a great process move. Matter of fact, I know it's not. But the 110, I'm going to tell myself the 110, the hit rate's not great. I'm going to tell myself Garrett Wilson, if I look at his trajectory of where he could be, he's going to be a top 4 wide receiver in Dynasty by this time next year. Now, obviously, Diggs has already been that, right? Although I don't know if he's ever actually hit those heights, but he's been at least top 10 wide receiver, and he's still only 28. So the smart move would probably be, let me just hold on to Diggs. You know what I mean? But no, I want to shoot for some upside on my rosters. I just do. I want to try to get that Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase without having to pay for Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. So every once in a while, you just have to take a shot like that and know that you're probably not going to hit many times. But the one time you do hit on it, it sets your roster up in such a way that you're going to be able to crush people.
Yeah, I like Shane's answer. If you can get the extra pieces back, even if they're just like roster construction fillers, a couple running backs, a couple thirds, like that can serve a purpose, and it pushes it over the top where you're like, okay, I can make these pivots and not feel too bad about it.
Jonathan, thank you for the super chat. Great content. How do you feel about the price on tier 2 QBs? So a 10-team Superflex start 11, give the 103, 209 Jordan Love, get Lamar. 16-team. Okay, let's start with that.
First of all, to call Lamar a tier 2 quarterback sounds disrespectful. But I would give my left kidney along with that trade with those other items to get Lamar.
Yeah, easy.
I'm pretty sure Shane has given away kidneys before, so
you're down to one. You're down.
We're, we're getting to like danger territory here. If he gives,
I don't know how many you need. I
you
think
have two, right? I do have randomly have like four of them.
I got a bunch of them lying around. Yeah, dude, you're slam accepting this to get Lamar. Like you're giving up the 103. It's a start 11, so you're giving up a few different pieces, but you're giving up the 103 is the only thing of true real value. Like, is Jordan Love going to turn into Lamar Jackson? I don't see that. If he does, then you lost this trade. But that's probably the only way you lose this trade.
And a 16-team Superflex start 10, give the 105 and a mid-24 first, get Deshaun Watson. That's just as much of a smash, if not more.
That's cheap.
It's a 16-team Superflex.
I'm doing both of these. I don't know who your quarterbacks are, but you just set up your quarterback room. Do it.
Yep, I totally agree. Good deals for both. And it's funny you say tier 2 with Lamar, but like to me, I kind of look at it as like there's a tier A, there's a tier B, and there's a tier C, and they're all tier 1.
Right.
Because outside of tier 1, like when you go from Justin Fields to Mac Jones, Kenny Pickett, Russell Wilson, you're like, whoa, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's almost like Lamar, yeah, he's technically tier 2 when you compare him to like Jalen Hurts, Mahomes, Josh Allen, but like he's closer to that than he is all the other guys. So
yeah, I guess tier 2 is a good place to put him right now. He's at the top of that second tier, definitely, where he's like, hey guys, I belong in tier 1, and I'm coming back next year when I'm an Atlanta Falcon and throwing the Kyle Pitts and Drake London.
Oof. I hope, man. That would be amazing. 12-team, I just want to see him running indoors. Just want to be flying around on that field. 12-team, 1 QB, half PPR, start 9. Give Ridley, get the 201.
No, I'm holding Ridley.
Did you send me an offer?
I'm not paying the 201 for Ridley.
It's not terrible because of the format. It's a half PPR. So, I mean, I could see where there's a running back that you'd prefer, or maybe not prefer, but that you'd have to give up an asset like Ridley to get a comparable running back. So, I mean, if that's your angle, I'm okay with it. But I'm also okay if you're like, you know what? I don't even like me. I have a lot of leagues. I have a lot of picks that are like 203, 205, 207. You know, I can diversify if I just want the player. That I'm okay with either side here.
Thank you for that super chat, David. Appreciate you, man. Okay. I love that. You're like, oh, give me Ridley. It's like, send me an offer. I'm not going to give you the 201 for him. Okay. Let's go to TK here. 12-team Superflex PPR start 9. Wide receivers are CD, T, DK, London, Judy. Want to consolidate. Give T in London for Amon-Ra St. Brown and maybe an early 24 first. The guy finished 11 of 12 last year.
Okay, so he sucks. But here, remember this too, though. You're going to be giving him T. Higgins and Drake London. So there's a good chance that he doesn't finish or she doesn't finish in 11th again. This feels like such a sideways move. No, I already have T and I got London. So basically, T and Amon-Ra St. Brown are equal to. I'll take London over the 24 first because I'm hoping the 24 first turns into London, who I just traded away for a 24 first. So I'm going to hold on to T in London.
I'm doing it.
If that's
Give me
truly
Amon-Ra in the early first.
All right.
in a super
Start
flex, if
9.
if that's truly an early first where I'm looking at the team and just going like, that's a top 3 pick. It might be 103 and not 101.
Yeah, right.
But if it's not early because the team sucked last year, but then I look at it and I go, man, that team could be in the playoffs. That's not early. If this is truly like, man, this is a bad team. We've all seen those teams where you're like, dude, this guy has no chance. Right? This is going to be a bottom 4 team. He's going to be a top 4 pick. I'm okay doing it. I just want to address one thing the person asked was, you don't need to consolidate here. You have 5 good receivers. There's no rush to just give 2 for 1, or you know what I mean? There isn't a rush to move them to consolidate because, you have CDT, DK, Drake London. That's 4 of the top 12 dynasty receivers, 4 of the top 15 dynasty receivers. Where are you going? You know what I mean?
And look, if you're going to consolidate anyone, it's Judy and DK. So swap Judy and DK for ARSB and the 24 first and make this deal. Then I'll go for it.
Well, yeah, Shane. Wait, Shane was taking the T in London side. Yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah, that's a good one though. Yeah, when I see like it's like, oh man, this can be a really early 23 first. Like if you think it could be 101 or 102, I try to conservatively be like, okay, it could be a top 4. A little bit of a buffer there.
What do they tell you?
Things like this.
When and I don't know who they are, but you're supposed to think of any first you trade for is late, and any first you trade away is early to kind of protect yourself. Go, would I be okay with this deal if this is what it ended up being? Because there's a chance that that's what happens. You don't know. Now, obviously, if they're starting Jimmy Garoppolo and Tom Brady at Superflex, you could probably go, man, that's going to be early. Yeah, let's do it.
I think part of the psychology, though, is a lot of times the teams that know their picks are going to be dog shit are never putting them on the block. So if you truly have the team that's like, man, my team's terrible, but I'm willing to trade my first for some godforsaken reason. Like it sounds like this pick was, right? Like this team's bad. Like that's a pick. That's one that I jump on. I might even pay, and I don't know if Clay is the same, but I think, you maybe pay a tiny tax to get that pick if you really think it's a top 3 pick, Like that's going to be worth it down the road. And it's not like you're taking much of a loss in the trade anyway. It's a pretty square 2 for 2, but it just feels like my second piece has 3x the upside that Drake London does. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm gonna here. For some reason, I just feel like putting Shane on a wild goose chase here. Where is it? Bear with me. Thank you for the super chat, Bello John. I posted 3 posts above me here. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks, guys. I don't see it starred, so bird dog that, Shane. Okay,
hello, John. What time was that message, by the way? Let's try that.
8:43. 8:43.
Some context clues, at least.
I'm just messing with you. Okay, Freak has a question. Breece Hall price check.
I'll give my 30-second answer of, he's probably RB2 or 3 in Dynasty by default, but it also feels like the RB2 or 3 in Dynasty, if you have it, doesn't feel nearly as powerful as it did a couple years ago. It's nice to have, but if you have Breece Hall or Jonathan Taylor in Dynasty and you're like, okay, I have a cornerstone asset, you really don't have a cornerstone asset. You're not going to find many people that are willing to swap that out for a cornerstone quarterback or a cornerstone receiver. So it's almost like you have to build around Breece Hall. But if you think he's RB2 or RB3, you can build around him. It's just you're forced to build around him. It isn't like, hey, I have Chris Olave or Garrett Wilson. I can go out and make a couple deals and just smash the value. It's going to be really hard to do that. So Shane loves Breece Hall, though, so he can talk.
I do love Breece Hall, but I would trade him if I can get him straight up for Chris Olave. If I can get Chris Olave straight up for Breece Hall, I'll take Chris Olave. If I can get Garrett Wilson and a little bit of a kicker, just because Breece Hall's probably worth more on the open market, I'll do that. If I could trade Christian Watson and George Pickens together and get Breece Hall, I'll do it. If I have to trade Justin Fields and a 201 to get Breece Hall and the Jimmy Garoppolo, I believe it was. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. It depends on my mood that day.
You fell asleep at the wheel on that one.
Look, it depends on my mood.
I was in the hotel room and I was like, wait, what? What is this shit I just got? All right. No, let me ask you this. So if it's a 10 team, 1 QB, start 10, are you giving the 102 for Breece Hall?
2 QB?
No, 10 team, 1 QB. Yeah.
Oh, 1 QB?
He's like a top.
Right? Like you
would.
would. You would.
Yeah, he's like a top 10 non-quarterback asset. It's just if you have him, it's not like you can go and throw him in deals and get you anything you want. So, yeah, for sure. He'd definitely be the 102 in this class.
Yeah, by
not
far.
one QB.
Should be the 101 in this class.
Should be the 101. Okay. Let's go up to here. Can we get a Dynasty Trades in 5 specific Patreon or Discord? Not that I don't want to support you all individually, but love the show.
Probably not, because I mean, not the. But me and Scott both are fairly extended, and quite frankly, this show has slowly taken over every aspect of my life, where it's generally a 6-day-a-week proposition, and I love that. And I love talking on the YouTubes all the time and trying to answer on the TikToks and on the Facebook as well. I don't know that we'd have the bandwidth right now to do that, to do it properly. Like, we could certainly just open one up and be like, hey, give us money and go talk, and we'll pop in here and there. But that's not really the style of Scott or myself or Clay, as evidenced by kind of how we do things. It's kind of all or nothing. And unfortunately, there's only so many hours in the day between this and my stupid real job.
Yeah, I concur with everything Shane said. I'm already spread pretty thin on, just a lot of different things. And I think both of us would love to just hang out and group me in Discord and Twitter all day and just talk about Dynasty.
Look, if we can turn this into a health insurance giving endeavor, that'd be great. Then I'm all in 24 hours a day.
Yeah, well, I want to find out a way to do it, but agree with all the above. I'm going to send out a message in like the community post, see if anybody wants to join this team, this non-venture capitalist funded team, to see if we can get some. I need some help. I need some help with this channel if we want to scale it and be able to do things like Patreons and other things. So I'll put something out there, because we got Liam who does a lot of our editing with one of those community posts. Wanting to join.
Apparently, we're starting Debbie trades at 5 next. So we
got
to get some Debbie guys in here. Jesus.
Yeah, man. It's 9:54. We start that in 6 minutes.
All right.
Okay. Thanks for the question, Ryan. Okay. Let's see here. It's already. Let's go to this. Darth Desmond, thank you for the super chat. We selling or holding Dak Prescott?
This just had to come up, didn't it? It just had to. So I just put out the tweet about Brian Schottenheimer's offenses and their pass rates when he was in New York, Los Angeles, and Seattle. It's bad. It's very bad. If you liked Russell Wilson a couple of years ago, which I think a lot of people did, but he was also very frustrating. And Dak is QB 10, QB 11 in Dynasty right now. But it feels like, and I had to give Shane credit earlier in the group me, he said he's Kirk Cousins 2.0 for a year now. And people just haven't been able to buy it. Like, they've always had Dak a tier higher than Cousins, but you kind of look at it and you go, yeah, he basically is. He has 328 yards rushing in the last 28 games, which is not a lot. That's, basically like a 5% rushing share, which is basically just pedestrian. Like, that's not a running quarterback. So, yeah, I'm selling Dak.
Nope.
I think Dak's closer to what did we talk about it earlier? Like the non-tier 2, the Pickett's, Russ Wilson's, Mac Jones, Cousins, Carr. Like, he's closer to that than he is, Lamar, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence. So, yeah, he's overvalued. I would say sell if you can get that price.
It's going to be fun when they draft another wide receiver, and then all our brains are going to explode because we're going to try to figure out what exactly is going on.
With the news, they're going to franchise tag Tony Pollard. I can see them keeping Zeke, tagging Tony Pollard, and they re-sign or they bring in Rashad Penny on a 1-year deal, and they just run the fucking shit out of the ball. And they throw when they need to. They throw every time on 3rd down, and they just kind of hope that Dak can sustain the drives. But they're not going to be an aggressive early down passing team. They were under 50% this year in neutral pass rate. Now, we blamed that on, their weapons sucked, and they're probably 2 of their best 3 players were running backs, and so they ran the ball a lot. But we also assumed if Kellen Moore stays, they draft a receiver, they dump Zeke, they're going to be a lot more explosive, and they're going to start throwing it again like they did in 2020. Remember when Dak averaged like 45 attempts a game?
Oh, yeah.
We thought it was going to go back to that. Then they lose Kellen Moore. They hire Brian Schottenheimer, who, his quarterbacks average like 550 pass attempts a year. It's just not good for Dak. I think they're transitioning away from the offense. The best, what did I say earlier, Shane? What's the best hope? That they fire Mike McCarthy and Brian Schottenheimer next year, and then they just start over again.
And Dak will be 32.
Well, maybe we'll hire a different type of offense, and we'll go back to where he was in 2020. But for 2023, I'm out on Dak. Out.
Dak's dead money isn't that unmanageable after this season. So
yeah, that's a whole lot of contract after 24.
So a lot of things can happen.
Yep.
Okay, thank you for the super chat, Matthew. 10-team, start 10, super flex. Give Burrow and Pollard. Get T-Law, London, and Mixon. The tight format makes me hesitate on doing a 2 for 3. Hit that like button.
Yeah, no. No. Yes, T-Law and London, please. It's a free Mixon. Hopefully he stays out of jail. And if he does, he'll be useful to you at some point next year, or maybe you can trade him. But T-Law and Burrow are close enough, and London by 1,000 lifetimes over Pollard for me. And then a free Mixon.
I mean, I almost look at it as you can wash Pollard and Mixon because they're just a placeholder, and you're getting London. So, yeah, I'm doing the London T-Law Mixon side. Good deal if you can get that.
So, help me out here. So, in a 10-team, you've got Burrow versus T-Law. That is closer than in a 12-team Burrow versus T-Law. Is that correct? What do you think? Or are they close enough to where the 10 versus 12 doesn't really make that much of a difference?
The difference isn't the two between each other. It's relative to the rest of the league, right? In a 12-team, and this is kind of why I look at the top 9 quarterbacks as almost interchangeable. Am I going to rush to go from Justin Fields to Patrick Mahomes? No. But if I'm talking about, Herbert to T-Law or Burrow to T-Law or Burrow to Lamar Jackson, like to me, that isn't, I don't really care which one I have,
Yeah.
like I'm okay. Give me if it's just a really neutral pivot, like, 106 for 108 and I swap quarterbacks, I'll be a little more picky. But here he's literally getting a free top 12 receiver in Dynasty in the deal. Yep. So to me, that's where you're just like, fine, I'm going from QB4 to QB7. That's all day. So good deal.
What are you paying right now for Drake London? I know he's a buy. Are you giving in a super flex the 104?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'd be the 101 in this year's class. So I mean, wherever you think that's going to go off the board, it's probably around the 104. So yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, that's
not one QB. One QB. So you're giving the 102 and a 1 QB.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yep.
Okay, let's.
Sweat is the 103 in the super flex or Drake London. That's where you make me think, and I go, damn.
Yeah, that's the because Scott would take Anthony Richardson there, and you would trash him for it,
and then trade back up and draft him again.
Oh my gosh, I was looking at the audience retention reports, and it was like on that part where it's like, I may surprise Shane here, but I'm going to go Anthony Richardson at 103. And then you just say skip. And we also had unsubscribers on that show. Wow. Yeah. I know. Pretty aggressive, but honestly, whatever. Like, it's weed out people who are worried about one comment like that. If they want to unsubscribe after something like that, then bye, Felicia. Okay. Let's go to this one right here. 10-team super flex, start 11. Guy willing to sell Burrow and Chase. He wants picks. Trade the 101, 102, 112, and a late 24 first. Thanks. You guys are amazing. Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, please. I don't care how you muddle these picks up. You're like, oh, the 101 and the 24 first. That's for Burrow, and the 102 and the 112 is for Chase. Or just tell yourself the 101 and the 102 are for Burrow, and the 112 and the 24 first are for Chase. Any way you look at it, you're making a profit. I do it. Do it hard. Do it hard. But accept is so hard.
Let's go into that.
This is the one where you go hit accept, right? And then you just go to the league chat and just wait. You just wait until everyone else sees the email alert come through, either MFL or they get the sleeper alert, and everyone's like, I hate you. And you're like, I don't care.
I mean, maybe we save this for another show topic, but you also look at this deal and you go, you don't want to sell these guys together, right?
No.
But at the same time, you probably don't have a team that will offer you more for the two combined than what you're getting here. But that's just the lesson of why you don't sell them together, because I doubt there's a team that can offer more than the 101, the 102, the 112, and a future first. Like, that's a lot, but I just wouldn't sell them together.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, let's go to I gotta unstar that one. How are we doing here?
We got a lot to get through.
Yeah, we got lots of ram through here. This is from Sean. For the top 4 QBs in the draft, what are the top 4 to 6 landing spots that you hope to see them get? Would those landing spots for the different QBs move certain guys over the other guys?
No, as long as I get top 15 draft capital, I'm fine. I already have it in my head, and I know that the NFL is going to just blow this out of the water. But like, I don't know. I guess Detroit. Does one of them end up in Detroit? That be a nice little.
I think Detroit is
Atlanta.
probably the best landing spot, but that's also an unlikely one too.
Because of Goff, and they're okay with them. In Atlanta, those are the 2 spots I think that are really the primo landing spots.
I think Houston ends up being a decent landing spot. I think they're actually going to build something.
Looks like it
on top of what they have right now. I think the other one is Carolina is a good landing spot. The one that scares me that I think dynasty managers are hoping Will Levis goes here is a Jeff Saturday led Indianapolis Colts, because then they can just fade the hell out of the entire thing. And no one likes the team. No one likes the landing spot. No one likes the player. So that's like the perfect of, you want one player to get flushed that has to go to Indy, and it'd rather be him. Then there will be some real pain if CJ Stroud goes to the Jeff Saturday led Indianapolis.
Yeah, I mean,
Colts.
honestly, so that's what I was going to say, right? Situations change quickly. We've seen that. Like, look at Jalen Hurts' situation. 2 years ago, he was staring at Jeff Ruland and Mike Jaminski and some other guys as his wide receivers. Then they gave him Devonta Smith and traded for A.J. Brown. And all of a sudden, you're like, oh, wait, he has 2 of the best wide receivers. He's one of the best wide receiver duos in the league. The only thing that could keep me off of a Colts quarterback, it wouldn't be the situation of what's there. It's Jeff Saturday, because that dude looked absolutely clueless. And if the Saints get him, or excuse me, if the Colts bring him back, like, what does he need to do to get fired, short of actually physically assaulting the new quarterback? So that's the only situation that would scare me, is the Colts.
Well, and I think the other thing is that could also be a situation where they hire Jeff Saturday and then they realize quickly that was not a good hire, and then they fire him. And what if they draft a quarterback that they see as a developmental piece, and then they change coaching staffs, and then they gut the staff, and then the new staff goes, yeah, we don't like Will Levis. Now you're kind of screwed. You know what I mean? Because now you have an owner that goes, well, we drafted this quarterback, and you trust they would bring in a new coach that would like the quarterback they have. But how often do you see that doesn't happen? They sell the new coaching staff that this quarterback is good until they get in there and they go, yeah, we need to get our own guy. So that's the fears with Jeff Saturday, is like, what if they draft a quarterback that they don't play right away, and then they fire him, and then they go, yeah, we know the new staff doesn't like this guy. Now you're kind of stuck. You'd rather have a quarterback and a coach. That's why I like Houston. I think they have DeMeco Ryans for
6 years.
Maybe even the whole time the rookie quarterback is there. So they're either going to grow together or they're not, but at least it's pretty stable.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep going here. Good stuff there. Let's go to Sean here. Thank you for the super chat, man. 12-team, 1 QB, start 8 PPR. I have the 101, 102, and the 203. The team core is Chase, Mahomes, Ken Walker, Olave, Pittman. Would you focus on RB at the top of the draft? Just get Bijan and the wide receiver 1?
I was just looking at Shane. I was looking at Shane, and I swear I saw like little hearts in his eyes, because I think the answer here is just
it's almost Valentine's Day.
Yeah, it's like, come on, you're stacked already. You're just taking Bijan and whatever player you want at 102, and smashing this league, right?
Yeah, you draft Bijan, and then you go see, hey, how high can I get for the 102 and a 24 first? Someone give me the wide receiver 2 in fantasy football. Give me Justin Jefferson. Here, I'll give you the 102, the 24 first, the 203. 25 first if it's on sleeper, and let's just maul people to death for the next 3 years.
Then you ask the league if you want to increase the buy-in.
Yeah, immediately.
Yeah, good stuff there. Thank you, Sean. Appreciate it. Let's go on to We had one here. I got to hit this one. I keep seeing it. Shiza. God, whatever. We're going to go to this one. We'll get back to that other one. B-Demp 7. 10-team super flex. Start 10. Price check on Tua. Dude keeps offering me the 107 for him. But I have Tyreek. My other QBs are Fields, Geno, and Kirk.
I think I'm taking the pick.
I'm taking the 107.
Yeah,
but,
I don't want
but
to.
I'm out on him. I just don't want anything to do with him.
Yeah, especially, I mean, he's already got kind of the 2-3 combo with Geno and Kirk. It's not awesome, but like if you're telling me there's even a shot that I could get Anthony Richardson compared to just Tua straight up, like that's a no-brainer. So yeah, I'm out on Tua. I'm good being out on him.
Yeah, I'm afraid of him. I've talked about this before. Concussions or brain injuries. That's the one injury that I will absolutely move away from. And, you know, sometimes we've seen players come back and play like Brandon Cooks and never have an issue. And I'm old enough to remember when Al Toon had to retire from concussions before even people knew they were dangerous. But just any kind of brain, that's an injury that just frightens me, that I want no parts of what a player has that, unfortunately.
Well, and here's the point. You might think we're short-sighted on all saying we're out because of the concussions, but that's probably the sentiment of a lot of people. So what should you be able to do if Tua is the outlier of the group, right? Let's say he plays 5 more years and he never has another problem with concussions. You should still be able to buy in at periods cheaper because of that fact. So I think it's almost like I'm out because I'm getting a good deal. I can buy back in probably at the same price in a year if I want, because I think that stink is still going to be there for multiple seasons.
Yep. There was actually, I'm trying to find one of these. It was a comment. Yeah, this was in the hopper from the community post. Tua's ADP will probably go up. The Dynasty community threw him away because of the concussions. He's an extremely good value right now. I just wanted to throw that up there because that was.
Yeah, and you know what? Look, I'll admit, I could definitely be wrong on Tua, and I hope I am. You know what I mean? That's one of the situations where you hope you're wrong because you don't want a guy to have to retire because of something like that. But just that's the one injury. You know what I mean? Like knees, you can come back from. Shoulders, you can come back from. Something like that. It literally is. And I guess, yes, it's football. So you're always one hit away from having to retire. But that's literally like one more hit, and he might be told he's not allowed to go on the football field. That just, for me, that scares me.
Here's a quick lesson, though, too, because I think the commenter is correct. His ADP will go up. But you know what I don't think is going to go up much? His demand in your league. So what does that tell you? You can get him at a cheaper ADP. You know where to take him. It's probably, if you're going to get exposure to him, you probably want to do it in a startup, right? Like it's probably not going to trade with the team that's going, oh, his value is going to bounce back up. So I mean, that's a fair way to play it, is if I'm going to get my shares, I'm not going to go trade for him. I'm going to take him at the depressed ADP in a new startup, and that's where I'll get my shares. Because I think his ADP will go up as we get closer to the season, right? And he's fine. He's out there. He's playing. Seems like he's good. But I don't think that you're going to say, oh, well, he's back now. His market demand is what it was week 7 this year. Like that's not coming back.
Okay. Do I pass on Bello John here? Do I pass on QBs to take some of these positional players or just take QBs for the value? 10 teams, so everyone's pretty set at QB, and trading these rookie QBs for a guy like T will be difficult.
Oh, there's no chance I got the rest of that. Absolutely none. Absolutely none.
I threw this up here because I told you to go.
I was so excited when I found one. He didn't do one of two.
You know what, man?
2 of 3. Look, this is not my fault. Look, John, Bella Beautiful. Right? Is that what Bello means? This was not beautiful. You have to number them. Give me a fighting chance. I'm not intuitive enough, smart enough to know that there's going to be just another random number after that, bro. You got to help me. Help me help you.
Help me help you. Let's do this one right here. So let's knock this one out. This is a 104, and Nick did a very nice job with all the formatting and stuff, taking care of us here. Thank you for the super chat, Nick. 104, 12-team PPR, start 10, super flex, half tight end premium, or 0.5 tight end premium. This will sound like I'm bragging, but I promise there's real questions at the end. Joined my first startup last season, Serious League from a fantasy Discord. Picked at the 111, and top QBs went before my turn. or I'm sorry, and top 9 QBs went before my turn. This led me to fading QB altogether and wound up with Pickett in round 5 and Goff in round 12 as my starters. Went on to complete a 16-0 championship season. Questions. A, is fading QB in Superflex a legit strategy, or did I get lucky? B, which vet players should I look to move, or should I play for another ship? Notable players: Pickens, Goff, Eckler, Jacobs, Pierce, Pollard, Jefferson, Kupp, Amari, Thomas, Boyd, Kelsey, McBride. My picks are 112, 205, 212, 412, and all my 24 and 25 picks. Let's start with this. Is super fading QB and Superflex a legit strategy, or did he get lucky?
No. So here's the thing, and we've talked about this before, is like when you start reaching for quarterbacks, like you're like, I really shouldn't be grabbing Kirk Cousins at 202, but everyone else grabbed a quarterback, so I'm just going to do it. Like, I can't remember a time in my life that's worked out well for me where I've gone, oh, yeah, I guess I'm going to take Ryan, what's his name? Aaron Rodgers at 305, and then I'll turn around and take Ryan Tannehill at 402 because everyone else has their quarterbacks. There's never a time I've looked back on it and gone, that was the right move. Yeah, that was definitely the right move. Because the problem is you're reaching on a substandard quarterback anyway. So it's one that's not probably going to be able to carry you. So now there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, obviously he knows he needs to, you can accrue other assets and then hopefully buy another quarterback down the road.
I don't think it's a non-viable strategy because he just went 16-0 with it. You got to give him props for it. Like, it worked. So that just is proof right there that it can work. I think the biggest thing that you can take away from this is, what do you do next? Right? Because I look at his players. I look at his list of players. He has very few players on that list that I go, other people in leagues are going to demand, right? Immediately you go, ooh, Eckler, ooh, Jacobs, ooh, Jefferson, Kupp, Kelsey. Those are great. Except for it's like, which one of those can I help restart my build with? There's not a lot of options. It's almost like you have to wait till you get closer to the season and then you get lucky on getting a couple deals that can give you some insulation and some points or some draft capital, because you have a chance to run it back. But I think what happens is now you're probably searching for a direction. So I wouldn't hate if he goes, you know what, I'm just blowing up my team. I went 16-0. I 6x'd my buy-in already. You know what I mean? Let's have some fun. And I'll take some of that winnings from last year and go start a new startup and do it a different way.
Yeah, right.
But I think where he's at right now, I'm looking at his team. Which players should he try to, build with? I don't know. Other than Jefferson, what player does he have that people are going to just be knocking down his door to send him offers? It's almost like he has to just run this team back, right?
Yeah, I think what I would do is I would give it a shot. Give it a shot to run it back. And I would try to just that 112, 205, 212. I'm just trying to like package a bunch of stuff and get one more hammer or move up in the draft with all of those picks. I want to keep my 24 and 25 intact, but just use those scraps and whatever I can do to try to just get one more piece.
Yep. I mean, you can try selling the veterans, and maybe his market in his league is, dude, Eckler and Jacobs just won him a title, so I'll buy him from you. Like, if that's the case, then try it. But it just feels like you might kind of be stuck. Like, well, I got to run it back, because if not, what do I do?
Yeah. Okay, let's keep on hammering here. We're gonna have to speed it up a bit. Was it 10:15? Yeah. Just double check. So we have price check as the theme tonight. Double check that you hit the like. We'd appreciate that. Okay. Q Ball, $5 super chat. Thank you, sir, or Surette is what Shane would say. 1 QB PPR start 10, 104 or 109 and 110.
1 QB start for 104, 109 and 110. I'm still taking the 104.
Yeah, I mean, I'm even if it's a 12 team start 10, I'd still take the 104. But if it's a 10 team, I don't think he specifies 10 or 12 teams. I would take the 104. So I'm with Shane. Give me the 104.
Yep. Agreed. So here's always the question though, 104 or 109 and a 24 first?
109 and a 24 first.
Yeah, I think that especially in a 1 QB, if you're selling that 110 for a future first, the range of outcomes on that first is a lot better. So I like that gap even more.
Yep. Tyler, thank you for the super chat. Hey guys, 1 QB Dynasty start 8. I have the 102 to 106, and 101 was an expansion, so empty roster. I have no 24 picks. What would you give up for the 101? DJ Moore, 106, 203, and 206 get it done?
It should not.
That would not get it done, or should not get it done.
No, if you send me
Very
that
easily
offer,
do that.
yeah, you send me that offer, I might orphan my own team and just leave the league.
1 QB start 8. So do what it takes.
Did you get the 102 through 106?
103, 106.
Yeah, try harder. See if you can add a DJ Moore to any of those picks and make it happen.
Like easily 102 and DJ Moore. Like not even a question.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Just you have a lot more juice that you can add on to that DJ Moore 106 part. Don't be scared in that format. Like get it. Okay. Tyler B. Let's hide that one. Daniel Kaufman. Thank you, sir. 12 team, start 10, Superflex, tight end premium. In a total rebuild, have Herbert and Pickett at QB and not much. Have I already done this one? Have I done this?
You did. Yep.
I did do this. Okay. It's like, all right. Coffee and Kicks. Just saw London and Ayuk go for the 105, 106, and a 24 second.
I like that. That's a good deep.
That's a pretty good return. Like
Yeah.
Ayuk had some value there in that trade.
Yep.
Yeah, I want the London and Ayuk side. Well,
interesting.
I mean, you know what?
If I need QB, I'm okay taking the 2 picks. It gives me
you know
shots.
what? Now that I'm thinking about this, just no. I'll take the 105 and the 106. Like I like Ayuk, but I like him as a back of the first round rookie pick type of guy that I would give up for, not a mid.
We're cruising right along here. Apologies if we're moving too quickly, but Aaron, thank you for the super chat. 12 team Superflex PPR start 10 inbox trade. Give Amon-Ra and Purdy, get the 111, 24 first, and Palmer.
We're getting into that area, like, and this is what happens with some trades, right? Like you look at things, and this is what calculators, and I have nothing against calculators. It's a good tool to use. It can't take into the account like certain things, like the value is fair, but no, I want players at some point, right? And selling Amon-Ra, I don't care about Purdy. Dude's never going to pitch again. But trading Amon-Ra for a 111 and what could be, who knows, a 24. What if that 24 first turns out to be the 111? You just traded Amon-Ra St. Brown, a top 10 dynasty wide receiver, for 2 late firsts, and Josh Palmer. Josh Palmer, I love and start like 13 leagues, but no, I'm holding on to Amon-Ra here.
It's closer for me because essentially it's definitely 2 firsts for Amon-Ra. It's just you already know one of the first is 111, so it doesn't feel like it's a first, even though it says a 1 on it. I wouldn't hate it if you go, you know what? I have the ability to liquidate 1 player to get 2 firsts, and this is the one I can do it that I know can get the deal done. Purdy and Palmer, I'd probably rather have Palmer over Purdy at this point. So that's basically just an Amon-Ra for 2 picks. I'm okay with it if he wants to do it. If he wants those picks and have a little more fun with those picks, how do you know he can't turn the 111 and the 24 first into Chris Olave, Shane?
Because if someone offered me the 111 and the 24 first for Chris Olave, I would throw bricks at them. As anyone should. That is the proper response. Just so you know. Like, violence is never okay. But if someone offers you a 24 first and a 111 for Chris Olave, violence is actually necessary.
I mean, have you seen Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, where he just chucks the bricks off the building and nails the dudes in the face like 5 times in a row?
That is a reasonable response to someone offering you the 111 and a 2024 first for Chris Olave.
Yes, it is.
Okay, let's put these up here. Manuel with the super chat. Yeah, no, I know. And then he said that it was a rookie mistake that he had like separate. Manuel, if you gave us 2 separate super chats and didn't mean to, Just email dynastytrades5@gmail.com. Give me your Venmo and I'll throw you money back.
Yeah, maybe we'll get
I don't want you to
t-shirt.
accidentally give us another $20. Yo,
We
give
got
a t-shirt.
the
Yeah,
t-shirts
yeah.
going. Got to get this merch going.
We had this merch company reach out to us.
They any good?
I don't know, man.
What's their name? Just put them on blast here.
No, they work with like all a bunch of big names or whatever. It's not like the one everybody uses. What is that? I can't even think of the freaking name. All the podcasters use it. Viridian Global. Yes, it's not that. But
it's not them. We're not good enough for them. Okay, well, that's fine.
I don't know. Who knows? Manuel, thank you for the super chat. So 1 QB, 10 teams, start 9, QB, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, tight end, 3 flexes, half PPR. His QBs are Fields, Love, Geno, Garrett Wilson, Judy, Pittman, Burks, Dubs, Terrace Marshall makes the list, ETN, Herbert, that's Khalil, Michael Carter, Chase Edmonds, Dulcich, Fant, Otten. Okay, projected 103, 104, 105, 201, 203, 303, and 403. Is it a waste of picks if I move the 2 seconds the following way? Get Cole Kmet, which would be the stack, and Hollywood. Am I reading this right? Get Cole Kmet and Hollywood. Give Otten, Dubs the 203. Let's start with that.
I'm giving Cole Kmet and Hollywood.
I'm okay doing both of those. Yeah, I'm okay doing both of those deals.
Yes, do that.
Yeah.
Do that.
So you're getting Kmet and Hollywood. You're giving Otten, Dubs in the 203. Yep, done there. And get AJ Dillon and Chig. Give Dulcich in the 201. Or should I keep the 2 second rounders?
I'm less likely to do the second one, but I'd be okay if I wanted to do it just because it's essentially AJ Dillon versus whatever running back you're going to draft at the 201. Yeah. Definitely the first one's a smash. The second one's a coin flip. I'm okay with either side on that one, but probably just prefer to keep the Dulcich in pick and wait a little longer.
Yeah, give me the first one. Definitely we'll do that. Let's get Hollywood on here, but I'm going to hold on to Dulcich in the 201.
Yep. Okay, thank you for that super chat. Manuel, when you email saying, yeah, sorry, I overpaid you. Tell me how to pronounce your name. Okay. Mr. Wonderful. Thank you, sir. 12 team Superflex PPR tight end premium start 10, get Lamar a mid 24 first, give the 102, 207, 211, 302 plus what? How much more value-wise giving for Lamar? Have Watson, Herbert, DK Olave, DJ Moore, London Pitts, 5 24 firsts, a 24 second.
I mean, the first deal is just an absolute home run smash. So it looks like you're just throwing a bunch of shit at the wall after that 102, then hoping they accept. So I think he's kind of asking, what else do I add? Can you throw the 24 second in there? Maybe. Can you... I'm fine even giving another first in this deal if it gets Lamar and the mid 24 first. You know, I mean, he's got the 524.
Give a projected late 24 first.
I guess I would do Lamar without the first that he's getting for the whole package of picks alone. But then I'm guessing the mid 24 first is higher than a couple of the ones he's holding for next year. So maybe he swaps out the worst one and sees if he can get a pickup grade. I'd still do that.
How's it going over there, Shane?
I'm just looking through the messages. I don't, Quentin, I'm looking through your messages. I don't see another message. So just shoot it back in here. And John, I thought John Bello.
We got Bellows in there. We got his in there.
Just because he left a message. Oh, we have it in there now.
I found them. Yep, they're in there.
Okay, so I found that.
Okay, cool.
But right. Quentin, just hit us up with that message because I'm not finding it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Wonderful. Appreciate it.
207, 211, 302.
Oh, sorry. No, basically, he was getting a smash deal on Lamar, and he was asking how much more he would pay. And Scott was saying that he could give up the 102 and a 24 first and all those seconds and stuff easily still for Lamar. You would have agreed. What you would have said is, yeah, I'll throw on a couple more first. Like, give
Definitely.
me Lamar. Give
All
me
of
the top.
Yeah,
Yeah,
every
it
one
would
of
have
them.
would have been something like way better and more colorful than that, but
Yeah.
same general. Yeah. Okay, let's put up a Bello John here. Okay. 10-team Superflex, half PPR, start 9. Watson, Lamar, Tannehill, ETN, Hall, Dobbins, Pierce, Godwin, Olave, Juju. Weak at wide receiver. Own the 103, 104, 107, 110, 201, 204. The 101 owner owns first 2 rounds of 24. Really? So it has all the firsts and seconds in 2024. Okay, he has a trash roster. 102 owner has Fields, Murray, and Lance Purdy. There's all the QBs fall to me and will the best value at all my picks. What? I'm sorry.
So
clean that up for me.
Well, now here's how I'm reading it. Essentially, what he's saying is that this message, he has all these picks, right? Now, apparently, he has 2 104s. So I'm wondering if one of those is the 105 or the 106. I don't think it really matters.
Maybe it's a copy leak.
No, because
It's
now you're just complicated even more. But I think what he's saying is that the guy that has 101 has every 24 pick somehow, like every single one of them in the first 2 rounds. And he mentions that guy, I believe, right here has a trash roster. So obviously he has no players probably. 102 has Fields, Murray, Lance, and Purdy. I think what he's saying is that all the quarterbacks are going to fall to him at 103, 104, 105. So what does he do in a 10-team Superflex with already Lamar and Watson? Like, does he just smash? Like, essentially, the best value is going to be Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, 103, 104, 105.
Well, I mean, I believe that the best value would be CJ Stroud and Bryce Young, and then probably JSN or Jamar Gibbs or several other names I can think of over Anthony Richardson.
We have sorry.
Yeah, got to mute yourself. So what I'd like to see you do is try to trade those picks. You can't be like, there has to be other people in your league that need quarterbacks, right? And they have to be reading the room the same way you are, going, wait a minute. If this dude has quarterbacks, that's the only two things he owns. Well, then the quarterbacks are going to fall to you, and you don't need them either. So maybe you can make a move with them.
He has I believe that's the 105. I'm assuming it's either the 105 or the 106. Yeah. But you just maybe take 2 quarterbacks and take 2 skill players.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't just fade the quarterbacks. But I think he's just kind of wondering what he does in a situation where they're going to take non-quarterbacks at 101 and 102. And he's already got his quarterback position kind of set. Like, how does he leverage that? So I think you just take best player available and you just worry about it. You're trying to kind of thread the needle and build a perfect team. I think you just take best asset. You have so many picks. It's not going to fit perfectly with what your roster. It's not like they're just going to hand you everything that you need because you already have 2 elite quarterbacks. Right. So I think you're just going to have to suck it up and take a couple quarterbacks.
Okay, let's keep going here. Chipotle Rice, thank you for the super chat. 1 of 2, 12 teams, start 9, super flex. My only QB is Cousins. I have the 103. Am I better off drafting a QB with 103 or trading it with extra assets for 1? Players of note are JT, DJ Moore, Jacoby, McLaurin, Olave, and other riffraff.
I mean, I think we've been pretty consistent with this speech. We will draft a quarterback if you back us into a corner at 103. We will absolutely do it. But that's not my first option, and that's not my first strategy. My first strategy is, what can I add to that 103, or can I get a quarterback with that 103? Can I obviously go after Kyler? Like, I don't expect people to hit accept, but maybe they will, maybe they're down on him. But I'd much rather add something to that 103 and then go get a quarterback.
Yeah, I think with 102, 103, 104, you're kind of just shooting to see what's out there. Like, I'm not expecting any of the top 9 quarterbacks to be willing to move for a deal around that pick. So if not, then you're left with 1 of 2 choices. You go to the next tier, which is Kyler, because we already talked about Dak. You know what I mean? Like, if I have the 102 or 103, I'm not sending that for Dak Prescott. I'm not sending that for Tua. I'm not sending that for those quarterbacks. So that at that point, you've basically done what Shane said. You forced me to draft one. So I'll take one.
Okay, let's keep rolling here. Thank you. John Tompkins. 12-team Superflex, start 8. I traded Mark Andrews, J.K. Dobbins, and a 25 first for Hawkinson. Stevenson, a 25 first, 24 second, and 24 third. I love the show.
So we went Andrews for Hawkinson, Dobbins for Stevenson, a 25 first for a 25 first, and then got an extra second and a third. I'm assuming he sees an edge in maybe the pick swap that he got in 25.
Well,
other than that, I'm fine with it. Hawkinson, Andrews, Dobbins, Stevenson. Yeah, I'm good with it.
Yeah, and I think the upgrade from Stevenson over Dobbins, or the perceived upgrade, is what he liked too.
Yep, good with it. Good deal.
Yep. All right, thank you, John. We've just got 2 more here. So Adam, thank you for the super chat. 12-team Superflex, start 9, PPR, Pickett, Tannehill, JT, Javonte, Algier, Pierce, B-Rob. There's other stuff in there.
B-Rob Jr. and Jalen Warren.
B-Rob Jr. and Jalen
somehow
Warren.
They're all squeezed into one player.
His space button doesn't work on his keyboard.
He's doing
one of one. He managed to jam it into one. I know what he's doing. Thank you, Adam.
He did manage a space between Thornton and then with an extra S in Pitts. So.
Okay. Give 103 and Javonte for Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson, I know he had a little rough go last year. I think people are forgetting, like, this dude is in that Patrick Mahomes subsection of tiers and numbers and letters that we discussed earlier.
Done. Love. That's the kind of deal I think we love, because it's clean. It's a 2-for-1. You're using one of those picks that's really hard to value, and all you're giving back is a running back with a torn ACL. So good job, Adam.
Good job. And to finish it out, here's Quentin's message here. After getting a 24 first for Keenan and the 23 210, would you be open to trying to trade that first to a 23 107 or 108 based on depth this year compared to next?
I feel like we didn't do the episode yet. I think we did it in my head of where we'd be comfortable trading back. Right now, I'm comfortable trading back from the 108 for a 24 first, I think. Probably 109. So, no, I wouldn't do that right now. That trade will be there in a month and a half if you want to make it.
I think that's right on the line. That's right on the cusp. I think you really have to examine the team's 24 first that you're holding and really decide how much of a bet you want to make for or against that team. Go from there. If it's one of those teams like we saw earlier, Clay, where it's like, yeah, this team's terrible, that this is an early first, you're not doing it. If it's a team that's been in the playoffs the last 3 years and you're confident that the manager knows they traded away their 24 first and they're trying to win and you think they're going to make the playoffs, then I'm totally fine moving it for the 23 if it's the 107, 108.
And real quick before we wrap up, whoever said they'd like to go to a strip club with me anytime.
All right, we gotta cut this off. Thanks to everyone who stuck with us here. Stream for almost 2 hours.
2 hours and 29 minutes.
Yeah, we got 400 people in here. Tuesday nights, as always, are great. We appreciate all the OGs who are in this room. Davis Daniels 123, love this guy. I'm just looking at the comments. No, thank you as always. And Shane, Scott, you want to say bye?
Oh man, I had this long-winded speech I was going to give you, but then we streamed for 2 hours and 2 minutes. So no, appreciate everyone coming out on Tuesday. It's best night of the week, best crowd, best audience, best questions.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we started these Tuesdays like a year ago, and I'm pretty sure we could just almost go nonstop for a lot of these. I mean, there's been so many questions that we had to kind of put to the side because we couldn't get to. So yeah, someone said earlier, I didn't highlight it. I think we highlighted and then removed it, that we need to do a 5-hour stream, Dynasty Trades in 5 hours.
To be true to our brand.
Yep. But yeah, thanks everybody for showing up again. It's a great time for Dynasty. People are starting to get back into their leagues, after that little bit of a lull in the playoffs, and ready to roll. Let's go.
All right, we'll see you guys soon. Thank you.